Close your eyes and picture a cowboy. You probably see a tough, independent man with a gun on his hip, riding across the open range, answering to nobody. Now let me tell you about the real cowboys. First, they were kids. The average cowboy was between 16 and 24 years old. Many were teenagers on their first job away from home. Second, they were poor. A cowboy earned $25 to $40 per month. That's terrible pay, even by 1870s standards. A skilled carpenter made 3 times that much. Third, they didn't own anything, not the cattle, not the horses, not the land. They were hired hands working for ranchers who owned everything. Fourth, the work was brutally hard and boring. Imagine spending 3 months herding cattle across 1,000 miles of empty prairie. 18-hour days, terrible food, sleeping on the ground, getting rained on, frozen, or baked in the sun. You're eating beans and salt pork for every meal. You haven't bathed in weeks. You smell like cattle. You're covered in dust. Your back aches. Your saddle has rubbed your legs raw. That's the real cowboy life. The job existed because of economics. After the Civil War, Texas had millions of cattle but no market. The North had railroads and cities full of people who wanted beef but no cattle nearby. Solution: drive the cattle from Texas to railroad towns in Kansas. Load them on trains to Chicago. Sell them to meat packers. This worked for about 20 years, from roughly 1865 to 1885. That's the actual cowboy era. One generation. Cowboys were essential to this system, but they were at the bottom of the economic ladder. The ranchers who owned the cattle made fortunes. The railroad companies made fortunes. The meat packers in Chicago made fortunes. The cowboys? They made $40 a month, and most stayed poor their entire lives. Now here's something the movies almost never show. Cowboys were incredibly diverse. About 1 in 4 cowboys was black. After the Civil War, many freed slaves moved west looking for work. Ranching was one of the few jobs available to them. They faced discrimination, but less than in the South. Many cowboys were Mexican vaqueros, the original cowboys. They'd been herding cattle in Texas and Mexico for generations before white Americans arrived. They taught white cowboys almost everything: how to rope, how to brand, how to break horses, even the vocabulary. Lasso comes from the Spanish lazo. Rodeo is Spanish. Bronco is Spanish. Some cowboys were Native American. Some were immigrants from Europe. The cow camps on the trail were some of the most racially mixed workplaces in 19th century America. Most cowboys were young because the work destroyed your body. By your 30s, you were too old to spend months in the saddle. Your joints hurt. Your back gave out. You moved on to other work or became a foreman if you were lucky. Very few cowboys became ranchers themselves. You needed capital to buy land and cattle. Most cowboys had no savings. When the trail drive ended, you spent your wages in town, on baths, new clothes, drinks, gambling, entertainment, and then you were broke again. The work was also dangerous. River crossings could drown you. Stampedes could trample you. Horses could throw you. Cattle could gore you. Lightning could strike you on the open prairie. And it was lonely. Months away from towns, from family, from women, from any entertainment except a harmonica and swapping stories around the campfire. By the 1880s, the cowboy era was ending. Barbed wire fenced off the open range. Railroads reached Texas, so you didn't need long drives anymore. Ranching became industrialized. The cowboy became a wage worker on a ranch, more like a farmhand. Not romantic, just a job. But even as the real cowboys disappeared, the myth was being born. Dime novels made them into heroes. Wild West shows made them into performers. Later, Hollywood made them into legends. The real cowboys? They were working-class kids doing hard, dangerous, low-paid work. Most never owned a gun except for protection against animals. Most never shot anyone. Most never became famous or wealthy. They were laborers in the beef industry, essential to the economy. Tough and skilled, absolutely. But not the romantic loners of the movies. The next time you see a Western, remember, the real cowboy was probably a broke teenager eating beans, smelling terrible, and dreaming about a real bed and a hot meal. That's the truth behind the icon.